Okay, and welcome back. We're picking it where we left off last time in the Banished Vault in our second run on the difficulty. Where I think we're going to try to work out the system, try to get Chronicle number 3, get the Scriptorium number 3 for the third part of the Chronicle setup. To do that, I think we're going to leave someone behind on the vault to do a little bit of introspection. Oh, that is an expensive burn. Just go straight down there. It is something we can just about do with a 2 stack of fuel. So that probably means we want to sort out what we're doing fuel-wise in the system, right? So this ship could probably do it. Yeah, 16 fuel down. We'd have 3 to get out. Right, so if we said we had fuel here. We might not have fuel there. 3, 4, 5, 14 fuel. Can we get 14 energy, or 14 energy? Could we get 14 energy with 3 fuel? Yes. So if that is the fuel site, we can come straight down there, plop the Scriptorium down, burn out the fuel maker, be happy. Otherwise, we'll probably have to have another ship come down and deliver fuel. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave the array score here to do the run. And we're going to leave one of our crew members behind to pilot it. But that crew member that we're leaving behind needs to do some self-reflection, so that when he goes down to face those challenges, they shall be trivial for him, because he will have planned and prepared ahead of time. Now, because we left some space in the vault, we actually do have some iron. We got 6 iron. The other ships are going to have to go looking for fuel production. So we can't burn straight down there without putting more fuel on the ship. So that's the thing to remember. On the other hand, that probably means we're in a good place in theory to check some other places, right? So what is the burn did there? So the expense, it's not very expensive in time, but it is expensive in fuel. The backbone here is pretty expensive. 7, 5, and the 2s aren't that bad, right? So we could do a burn down to there, it'd be 14. 14's not a bad burn. Right, so it's 3 from there, and then that's 20 together, right? So another 6. 6 is a cheap burn. We don't want to come out into this rung unless we are going to go there, I think, because it's a 7-7. Yeah, so we want to go there. I think the answer is actually to burn there first. Basically break it up into multiple burns. So yeah, we don't have a time space, but we've got a time space. The 16 is a 13 fuel burn. So that's 16. That to go from there to there is 16. And then there it's actually pretty trivial. Okay. So we're going to put one crew member on this. And you're probably going to go there. We have you as the exploration ship. 30 fuel even on this ship's quite a bit. That's a 5 fuel burn. Now you can make it there on 2, which means then you can go from there to there on 2. So it's actually a 5 there. At some point we want to find out where the water is. And in this case, we probably actually do want to turn turns into fuel. So the question, right, is do I want to find out what's there quicker? Oh, you can get there in 2. Right. It's going to cost you at least 2 fuel to get there, which is 19. It's actually only 3 Oh no, yeah, never mind. So everything is going there. Everything's got to go there. It's going to be like two or three to burn down. Question, of course, is do we want to bring the cargo ship down? Because the cargo ship is a little bit more fuel hungry. And we've only got like 9 fuel to burn on it. Right. So what? It's 14 to go there, regardless of the ship. So it's a 6 fuel burn, and then 6 energy is not bad. 6 we can do with the 2. Yeah, so we're really looking at having some water there, is what's going on. So we want one on you. Stick someone on you. And then the cargo ship. We'll stack guys on the cargo ship. Game manual. So, fuel. We don't have the orbit collector converter, so we've got to go to a planet to make fuel. And in practice, that probably wants to be the planet with water. Simple enough. So we need 3 iron. For every planet, we both want to make the water on and the fuel producer on. Where do we have iron in the system? Do we have iron in the system? We do. We have it in a couple different places. Iron there, we have iron there. So we're maybe not desperate on iron, because likely we'll probably have the ability to turn iron into iron. Although the iron mine is pretty heavy in iron. It's a 3 iron deposit. It's 3 iron to get an iron center maker. And that's before being concerned if we need resource extractors. And we probably want to build a stasis producer, which is water, titanium, and carbon. Okay, so that's probably where we want to put stasis provider. There's maybe an argument we don't want to make fuel there if we don't have the space. Alright, so let's assume cargo ship-wise, we're going to make enough for both. Basically going to be only iron. Like, we're taking only iron with us. I want a fuel producer, which is... In fact, let's assume we want like some two fuel producers. Okay, we're then going to want the stasis producer, which is another 2 titanium. We're going to need more iron. Stasis producer requires 1 alloy. We do have alloy. That's not a concern. On this one, we're thinking about bringing in a scriptorum. Basically running you straight down to build a scriptorum. And hopefully having enough fuel to get up to a fuel source is the plan. Okay. So yeah, the risk here is we don't have a lot of fuel. In fact, I have so little fuel. We're going to take the fuel off the Mandalorian 3 here. Because I want the fuel for moving around in the system. At this point, I think we're ready to commit. Okay, so that's an interesting thing. Let's do a single move, because it's 2 fuel to go there or 2 fuel to go there. So I want to know what the state of that planet is. I want to know if that iron is available. Because if it is, that may be where we get more iron, because we're kind of a little desperate for iron. We'll commit that move. The small ship, we're not going to burn straight there. I could burn straight there and save us a little. It doesn't really make a difference because it's 1 is 6. So there doesn't matter. But we're probably going to have you go straight to the water place to identify the state of the water. So it's 3 and then 1. Commit that move. The cargo ship has got what we need to build stuff. Because we've got the higher efficiency 3-thrust engine, this can get onto these planets. In fact, right now, we're better off on the more fuel-efficient one, because we only need that to go into the thrust 1 planets. Right, so it'll need it to go down to that one. And we might want it to go down to that one, to be fair. Okay, this isn't saving as much fuel, but that's a 5 fuel burn there. Depending on how much iron we need, right? So if we need to do deeper resource extractors there, we'll have to go straight there first. And extract some iron so we can go to the water one and make some water. Okay, that's the plan. So we'll commit to that burn as well. We have the one guy in the chapel who's going to stay in the chapel for 3 turns. We should have an idea of how we're going to get fuel to this guy after he goes to the Hallowed Planet and sets the scriptorium up, is the plan. Okay, no hazards on the planet. The iron is not surface level, it's a depth 1 iron. And we've got 2 local iron. So we'll put this guy, get this built. Depth 1 iron, so we need a resource extractor. And then we want an iron harvester, which does take a bunch of iron, a bunch of space up for the iron line. We don't have the iron here for that. Any artifacts here? Lots of really tiny ones. Probably don't want to harvest those. Okay, so that's some info on the source of the iron. We want to know about this planet and what the state of the water is. And it's nothing in these orbits, right? This orbit's a boring orbit. Yeah. This orbit's probably a boring orbit. Yeah. Boring is sometimes good. We like boring when we want it to be boring. And this is luckily a nice boring planet. Does have surface water, so we need 2 iron to get the water maker going, 3 to add the fuel producer to it. And there's some local water as well. Okay. So this will probably be where we make fuel. The question here is, do I go get the iron going first, or get the fuel going first? Let's get the water going first, because I can do both fairly easily. In fact, I could hand the iron over. Right, we need 2 more iron. Where this ship can then take this iron over to here. We can start harvesting the iron with this one. This one's going to be 4 actions, so it's going to cost 1 to do that move next turn, which it can do with 1 fuel. We can make a bunch of iron, we can drag the iron back. Okay. All these guys make 1. Plans. The plans are happening. Got enough elixir in there, we can just go ahead and turn. And we need to put more elixir in there to get him up to 6. Shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so you are going to do a straight burn over, bring the iron over. We can even harvest some titanium here if we thought we needed titanium. In the meantime, we've got everything we need here to make the fuel producer. So we can make water, make fuel. With the logic that we're going to need the fuel to explore more of the system. You will be ready to set out. I think we're still going to do the mad burn straight down to the hallowed planet. The question is, are we going to try to meet it? How are we going to handle the comeback, really? Because he's not going to have enough fuel to get back to the vault without help. But we got fuel being made in systems, so that shouldn't be a problem. Cannot increase faith. Yes, your faith is high. The array score. We are going to probably do the multi-burn trick to save some fuel. So it's 3 to there. And I think it's worth doing the multi-trick. So it's 14 is 3, and then it's 16, which is another 3. And then 9, 10, 11, 12 is 2, so it's 8. Actually, you have enough to go down and back. If we do the if we do a couple stops over, so that's what we'll do. We'll commit you to that stop. In the meantime, we're back to harvesting iron. And then we're making fuel here. Lots and lots and lots of fuel. So in theory, this ship may now be ready to come down here and start making some stasis. I might send the scout ship out first. Okay. So you're going to then do the burn over there. Again, 3 fuel burn. And then you have... Ah! I fudged it up. Fudged it up. I need 2 thrusts to get in off the planet, and we got a 1 thrust shift. Okay. I can still make that work with this ship. Okay, so now it has enough thrust, now it can actually get down to the planet. It doesn't have any actions to go down there yet. Of course, I've done that. Now you don't have the thrust, which we probably want to send you to explore that planet, so let's actually flip that back for the moment. Because we've got the thrust and actions to go there and back. Okay, so anything interesting in orbit? No, we weren't expecting anything interesting in orbit. What's the state of the planet? Okay, that's a potential problem. The CO2 and the water is deep. So the thought process here which we probably won't be doing here. Well, we can still probably do it here. Let's get one of these guys over so we can see the size. Okay, so that kind of confirms it as well. I wanted to both gather the carbon, the water, and the titanium all in one place, and then hopefully turn it into stasis. This planet ain't that big. It's not that big. It's not that big at all. Oof. I can get the titanium, I can get the CO2, I can't get both. Interesting artifact here. In fact, we got enough actions here. And I can grab the artifact. Do I leave some fuel here? Let's leave some fuel here. This is an interesting place. We'll probably be back to it. Okay, then you need your drive, so we transfer. Transfer the drive over, so you've got the capacity to do the landing. You just need your action back. And then we've got all the real info that we need off here. Of course, we gave you the fuel efficient drive, so we can't land back on the water mine. Okay, it's annoying, but this is what I forgot for bringing a better drive along. That's a bit fuel expensive, but we can do that. Okay, that'll work for the moment. Not super efficient, but it's fine. And then we got the guys down here. Do I want... Yeah, we want a little bit of iron. So let's have you spend one action over that ship. You can spend 4 actions. Or 3 actions, yes. 3 of your 4 to get it up to 4, so we can get a full stack of iron. And then I'm going to spend 1 fuel to go there. We're going to do an iron handoff. So I'm going to give you a full stack of iron. You're going to have the 1 stack of iron back. Hand over the artifact and a crew member. Or do I want to hand over the artifact? Don't want to hand over the artifact. I'll hand the artifact back. Yeah, probably want to store some some iron on the ship. Grab that titanium, we might need it. Yeah, so you've got all the stuff you need to put up the... stasis producer. And I could set the stasis producer up here. What do I need for stasis? Water, which we've got. Carbon, which is actually local. We'd be a little bit tight on the space. I don't think I can actually run it both the carbon and the stasis producer. So let's assume we're going to put the stasis producer down here. So we're going to import the water, we're going to import the titanium, import the carbon. The titanium wouldn't be too bad from there. Although I think that's where we're getting the carbon from. We'll have a better understanding once that orbit's explored. We could do orbital carbon. Be a bit fuel expensive to get that out. Oh, same sort of thing over there. Although that was on orbital, right? We can do orbital carbon here, we can't do there. Though I've got the iron, so I could do the deep extractor carbon. Okay, deep extractor carbon, and then we can import titanium from here. Yeah. Okay. So the reason I got this guy on his ship is we're going to do some exploration. Except you're not going to that planet because that requires 3 thrusts to get in now. Give me an idea what the state of that planet is. No hazards. Deep carbon, shallow silicon. So that's an even interesting option. Is I could import everything but the carbon, because water isn't too hard to produce, right? We can make water over here, we can make carbon over there, so we can ship the water over. And the titanium over. Yeah, okay. So, with the Explorer, we've got the answers there. We can get him there, and then he can be able to drop into the fuel site. Refuel. Okay. So, who has an action? You have an action. So if we're going for that, do I send you over right now? Probably. I don't want to do a 22-point bill or burn because that's expensive. And you got enough thrust, yeah, so you'd be able to get down to the planet. Okay, so that has dropped it to an 18. Which I think saves us a whole fuel. So that's dropped it from 6 to 5. 4 is what's left in the burn. Okay. Yeah, we'll do... This is a pretty decent-sized one, so we'll do the elixir maker, or the stasis maker, and the carbon. Got the ship with 9 iron on it, so it's got plenty of iron to set the stuff up. Okay. You could actually burn back to the vault. We got a bigger engine. With the bigger engine, you'd be able to descend to the planet. You probably go back and get fuel first. Descend to get fuel, then go... So what's there and back? Oh, that's going to be the problem. There is 8. So without refueling... Without refueling, you can't get to Orb, or you can't get back to the... Oh, you can get back to the vault. So maybe I don't need to be too paranoid. Right, you can get down to there, you can grab some fuel, you can make some fuel, that sort of stuff. Okay. Lots of little plans going in parallel. Maybe not all of them working, but that's it's a different problem. Okay, 3 fuel burn, shouldn't be a problem. Resolve hazard. We failed. We lost 2 condition. So that means leaving is a risk. There is no hazard on the planet. And there isn't a way to repair the ship. So he's going to have no probability of failing, so he can at least finish. That was unlikely for him to fail like that. Hopefully he doesn't fail on the way out. If he fails exactly like he did on the way in, he's not going to make it out. Yeah, That's the risk profile there. The risk profile there is that things go horribly wrong. Why are we going there instead of going straight to the planet? Go to the planet, make some fuel. Well, he will make fuel. Oh, actually, he doesn't. It's just enough fuel on the planet. Fill him up. Okay, it's full. We could then send him to orbit, hand the fuel over to the ship. Maybe. Okay, so does it make sense to go all the way there with a 4? Or... No, we don't save any fuel doing a two-step, so go all the way there with a 4. Oh, I can send the scout ship over. So the scout ship can run over here. I can even swap the scout ship out for this thing. Yeah, I can swap the scout ship for that. I'm dumb. I am very dumb. Some of you are probably realizing this asteroid doesn't have a thrust requirement to take off from it, so it can just go in. I'm sitting in orbit for no good reason. I'm sitting in orbit for absolutely no good reason. Make some fuel. Our whole problem is we don't have enough fuel. Make more fuel. Then we can go wherever we want. Yeah. Okay. You're the only guy with an action. I know what I want that action to be. So... we need to set up a resource extractor 2, so we can get access to that carbon. And then converter-wise, I want a stasis producer, which is one of the bigger buildings. Build the stasis producer first. And then that's going to be 3 iron. The carbon producer is going to be plenty. We're going to have plenty of carbon. And then we need to drag the water, the titanium, and the carbon dioxide in. Shouldn't be too hard to do that. Okay, I'm going to do the one that has the highest probability of going horribly, horribly wrong, which is we're going to build the script worm. We soon lost contact with the stellar network. At first, the lack of incessant proclamations was a welcome, but the silence grows overwhelmingly. Yeah? What do we want to take from here? We've got a titanium mine, we've got an iron mine, so it probably makes the most sense to grab the silica and the carbon. Assuming the ship can even make it to orbit. Oh, do we have any artifacts here before we leave? Actually, I would like that over the carbon. I want to know what the state of that planet is. So we're going to do the 3 burn there, and we're either going to succeed or we're going to fail. Give me a 5+. There we go. Multiple. We got a 6 and a 5, so everything's fine. What's the state of this planet? No artifacts. It's a little bit more silica. And we're going to set up a titanium mine, but if we bring the iron along with us, we'll spend a little bit less time setting it up. Okay. And then here on this planet, construct. And then a CO2 harvester. Construct. How much stasis do I want to bring along? How much do I really need? I really don't need very much. Right. We're thinking maybe a planet or maybe a jump or two. Right. So if we don't get lucky and the next one doesn't have a hallowed, and this is future proofing, right? This is over excessive future proofing. Right? If the next one doesn't have a hallowed planet, we're gonna have to jump again. And we have 5 of the 8 we need if we're doing that, so we probably at least want to make 5. We could happily probably make, if we bring enough stuff in, right, then it wouldn't be too hard to bring enough stuff in. Go for 2 stacks, go for 18 real easily. Alright, so let's assume we're going to go for 18. These guys, until the stuff arrives for them to actually assemble it, are going to kind of sit here making CO2. So if they make 2 stacks of CO2, we're pretty good. These guys, on the other hand, are making fuel. There's maybe an argument that you want to move over to setting the mine up. I buy that argument. We want to get the mine going. When this ship gets up, it'll probably stop by the fuel, refuel, come over to the mine. I want to pick up some iron. Right, we got no iron here. Actually, it doesn't want to pick up iron because we don't need iron. The stasis is water, titanium, carbon, so it needs to pick up a stack of, well, basically 2 stacks of titanium. So we need to get 2 stacks of titanium going. Right, that's... technically, I could go back to the vault. We got plenty of that in the vault. Could take 2 in the vault. So let's send you over there and just make some titanium. So it takes you one to burn over there. You got 3 actions, so you can start cranking out some titanium. But first, we need to get the, mine going, which costs an iron, which we don't have. So you craft the iron, you craft the place, you start making some titanium. Okay. And then we got the one last guy who probably still wants to keep making fuel. And then you can get there with your 2 last fuel, right? In fact, you're going to use half once the fuel left. That's perfect. And you're going to keep making carbon. In fact, they're going to make too much carbon. We don't need as much carbon. I had them make nothing but carbon. So that's all the carbon we want for 2 stacks of stasis. We do have everything but the water. Everything but the water. Okay, so we're sitting here with too many actions. We don't need all these actions. I have just enough fuel without refueling to go back to the vault. The vault's got no fuel, so then go there and get stuck. Which would just be about as bad as having them where they are, so we'll leave them where they are. And then you're making titanium. You're making fuel. And we got cycle turn, so you can move. You can now arrive to pick up fuel. I might actually want to swap some of this stuff over to the cargo ship, to be fair. Oh, and you don't need that engine anymore. Get you back on the more fuel efficient engine. Or arguably, you can... Yep. There we go. You still want some more fuel, you want some more water. On the other hand, we can get you to go back. Okay, solid burn through is a little aggressive on the fuel, but I think we can work with that. Yeah, if 9 there, 9 back, the fuel won't be a problem. Right, because that's a turn worth of person working on fuel. Each way. That allows us to drop the iron off, let the artifacts off. It gives us much more storage space here. Or still making the titanium. And sadly, the people on the planet where we want to make the stasis are kind of sitting a little idle. They would, if they pick up a stack of fuel from this guy, be able to get back. Right, because they arrived there at the same time. And we've got water and titanium there. Right, we don't have enough water. So we could pick up the titanium we were planning on making in-system to do the thing. And the water. Yeah, that's an argument. So these guys are kind of sitting here bored. So we'll do that burn. Maybe we might actually send the cargo ship there and send them to here. Pick up water, pick up titanium for the pullout. Yeah. Okay, so those guys obviously need some fuel. Not a problem. We can give them some fuel. Drop off the skull. Drop off the alien plant. So 30 knowledge. We want to leave at least a stack of iron here. We need the fuel to move. We'll keep the Caracal engine in the Mandalorian 3 because we don't need it. Oh no, I need it to get down to the planet. Stick the small one in the Caracal, in the Mandalorian 3. So now you could go... Wait, no, I did that the wrong way. You need to go on Arch 61. There we go. So now like all got thrust once so we can get all the plants we're interested in. I'm just not interested in the one that requires thrust 3 to get down to. Like we could go down there, but the artifacts down there have to be real nice for me to want to go down there. And then you can grab titanium, water. And go straight there. 18 thrust to burn. It's a 3 thrust from the minimum distance I have to go. So it's a one burn. That's reducing it to 14. Yeah, that probably makes sense to do. Okay, so we're gonna go there. Because that's saving us 3 fuel. 2 fuel. So instead of a 9, it's a 6 burn plus a 1. So 6 and 1 or 9. It's going to cost 1 turn worth of... Well, it's going to cost 1 action. Like, for the extra 2 fuel savings, so that's fine. And then you want to go back down there, both to drag water and titanium back to the ship. Honestly, I've now harvested too much titanium. We don't need that much titanium. Then I realized I had so much on the ship. Like, I want to bring the 9 back. One of our guys is just going to spawn in 2 on entering the next system. Right, so we'll do a burn for you to get over to there. Oh, actually, arguably, you have the thrust to get down to that planet. You could do some exploration. Given that I'm now thinking about that, We're still gonna have you water, fuel. Can you get there in one burn? One reasonable burn. Yeah. So there's a hazard on the planet. Lose 2 to 3 actions if you fail the roll. It's a really easy roll. That's not what we're here for. We're figuring out what the artifacts are, and the artifacts are absolutely worthless. Wasn't even worth coming to find out. Right, because we'd have to use the fuel-efficient engine to get down from orbit with that thrust 3, and it's 11 thrust on the fuel-inefficient one. And we got you going straight to the planet. You can do some work. Really what we need to retrieve is we need to retrieve another stack of water. And we can retrieve fuel and titanium while we're doing it, so... We've already worked out it's cheaper to do 3 fuel burn down there. Okay. And then Kronos here has some free time, where he's gonna make some water. Oh, it's a 2 fuel burn. Okay, so these guys are stuck until we get more fuel to them. Or, I say guys, this person is stuck until we get more fuel to them. Okay, so now at least he can get to work. And he's going to work through his water real quickly. It's going to be a turn and a half to turn it into stasis. We need a stack of water to do what I'm thinking about. And then we need some water to make more fuel. Is the plan. These guys can then arrive. They're here for the water and the fuel. They probably want a little bit more fuel than that. And then we want to go pick up the iron. No, the titanium. I want to pick up a stack of titanium. What do we got on the ship? We got 12 iron, which is probably enough, seeing as we're going to get 4 changing systems. Yeah, we probably want to bring up the stack of titanium. Which we've got made, so that's fine. Okay, everyone has acted. Plenty of time to get everything we want done in the system. You can see the gloom. The gloom is coming. The gloom will come. And right now, you're making fuel. Like, we probably want... Pull this one up. Your main thing is going to be basically just making these guys can just make a bunch of. Whoops! I need to be making fuel. Basically, I want these two ships to leave with full. Where's Renault? Oh, because those guys are ready to burn. Burn to there. 3 to burn to there. 1 to burn to there. That brings in the water. and brings in more fuel for the cargo ship, maybe. How much does the cargo ship need to leave? 18. Can it do that? No. Okay, so we're gonna have to do some more on the... We're probably gonna have to send the ship to go grab more fuel, to be fair. That's what I'm thinking. In the meantime, you start making stasis. Yeah, let's actually send the ship to go get more fuel. We need more fuel. Okay, little fuel inefficient. Actually, we got so many actions we can do. We need more fuel efficient than this. We do a 3 and then a 1. Then we still have 2 actions to make fuel. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got 19 turns to make fuel and to make a little stasis I want, which is going to be easy to do. We do need to bring this guy back more fuel, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Given the circumstances, I think I'm actually going to have you set out. Because we... Oh no, we probably want you to be the last one to set out with the little ship. In hindsight. What, I need 3 actions to fuel efficiently get to where I'm going. So we'll leave you with 1 action. Otherwise, we're going to take advantage of the fact that there's lots of people here to make fuel. Stack you with fuel. Set you out. Here we go. And then that, in theory, has enough fuel that it can get back to the fuel planet, where we can just really just stack everyone with fuel before we leave. What do we've got in cargo here? Got some titanium, we got some iron. We're going to spawn more titanium iron in. Actually don't have any water, so it makes sense to grab like 2 stacks of water. Either for making stasis or making fuel in a system where we don't have access to either. Grabbing 6 carbon wouldn't be a bad idea, a full stack of carbon. I don't have the mine set up for the sulfur, do I? No, and we blocked easy access to that, so we're just not going to do that. Say sulfur, silicon. Block the easy access to the silicon. I'm thinking you're going to want like 2 stacks of water, so let's actually make those 2 stacks of water before I forget. Yep, so 2 stacks of water. We'll even load that in the ship, so I can't accidentally turn that into fuel. And if I'm just dragging that back, those ships are ready. Do you want the carbon dioxide? Yes. Okay. Let's finish making the stasis. So you're full in stasis. To get you guys back to the fuel, I only need 3 actions to do it fuel efficient. So I definitely don't need these 12 actions. So I want 6 carbon. Load that on the cargo ship. We'll put the... Put those on there. We'll take that. So yeah, arguably this is the full state where we're probably going to send it to the Aruga. So you then have got plenty enough action to get back to the fuel depot. Could burn all the way through, but nah, we'll just take the fuel efficient max to there. 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 And we got 3 actions. Water's already loaded up. So we just want to make 3 stacks of fuel, basically. And for fuel efficiency, it's going to be 2 actions for them to leave. Okay. So we're definitely leaving the system early. We're like done. Like, yeah, I could just shove more fuel in the vault, but I think we need some space in the vault. Some space in the vault. Okay. So you're gonna do a burn. Doesn't need to be a big burn. 2 to there. 14 to there, which is a 6 fuel burn. And then here we're making fuel to fill up the ships. What, I want like 2 to actually burn out of here. 2 actions, right? So I can actually go for another fuel making action here. It shouldn't be a problem. Oops, that ship. Okay, the ships are, for practical purposes, full. I actually think that sulfur is better. The silicon is more valuable than the titanium. Because that'll stack with the force silicon there, so we'll get a full stack of silicon here. And we've already got more than a stack of titanium. We'll have a stack of carbon. Yeah, okay. So let's pilot these guys out. 1 to there, and then you burn back. One to there. And then you burn back. 1 to there. And then you burn back. Okay, then we do what we can to load, unload into the vault. Good thing the stasis stack's as high as I want it, so 31 stasis delivered. Stack of fuel in you, stack of fuel in you, stack of fuel in you. We got surplus stack there, stack of fuel there. Water, water. Okay, that's our crew, so we are pretty good to leave. I might reposition those fuel inefficient engines just to clear up some space. Because I think the effect spawned in ones, I think those need 2 empty spaces. So I think I need an empty space to get my new system yield. Never mind, that works. So we got the 2 systems. So when we get the system, we'll get the 4 iron, 2 titanium. So let's remember to rearrange everything. And yeah, I think we're ready to finish the system. Yeah, it took us a real-life hour. It only took us 15 in-game turns. So we were very efficient here. Next stop, Vormuasot. Again, once more, into the dim starlight our chase has endured. For such a time that the void is more comfortable than gravity, our faith wavers. And of course we have plenty of stasis, so everyone gets to take a nap. When using Silica Harvest, gain 1 extra. Roll 1 extra die when resolving hazard. That's tempting. If I didn't have gain 2 titanium on the guy with 5, I'd definitely probably go for that one. Recover 1 additional faith when in recovery. That's also pretty tempting. A ship with barely any cargo, probably not going to bother. Artifact Savior adds 5 more artifacts for gathering. So that's good. That would probably be better early in the run, though. There's a decent possibility we just win in the next system. Yeah, there's enough possibility we win in the next system. In which case, then that's worthless, because we won't bring anything out. Let's go recover 1 additional faith, 1 recovering. If we decide we need another high faith person, that's what we're going to need. Conclude hibernation, Vormuasot. Drifting for decades upon decades, an unknown ship has entered the solar system. An abandoned ship has been discovered in this system. This is the upcoming system. Oh, it looks like a big one. And it does have a holy system. Holy site. So this is a system we could very well win in which case the next part will be a bit on the short side. This is where I'm going to go ahead and put a part break in. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be a part up tomorrow. If it's a short part, there will also be a Shadow Empire episode up tomorrow. Yeah. If it's a long part, like if this hollowed planet is not viable for whatever reason, then we'll have to go to another system. Granted, we win if we just send a guy down there and it's viable. So this might be a real quick system. And in fact, that'll probably be something we just do right at the beginning of the thing. Is we'll just set up a ship and send them down there. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to sip some tea. I'm not going to do the tea break, just in case this upcoming system is fairly short. I'm going to take a moment to stretch between parts, though. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.